Hi there, and welcome to today's Quentin Carpenter Nature of Flowers tutorial on Photoshop. Today we're going to be looking at a very famous artist called Shepard Fairey. You may know him from his Barack Obama advertisement from the American election a little while ago, and also currently on the cover of Time magazine in America is one of his illustrations, and it depicts a lady wearing a bandana or neck gaiter with the word vote, and this is very important. It's the first time that Time has ever replaced its own logo. Normally it would say Time in here, now it says vote for the first time in 100 years. And there's an article you can read all about why they did it. And it's very important that in these times we reflect artwork that's going on currently. So this is the image we're going to be looking at as our inspiration. I've taken a picture of somebody wearing a neck gaiter, one of my Nature of Flower neck gaiters, in fact. So we'll put this over here, so we can see the image as we go about doing our own version of it. So Shepard Fairey is an illustrator, and he works predominantly with graffiti and also with these illustrations. He's very striking monotone colours. We've got the blue and the reds, and then strong whites. So we're going to do a similar thing to this picture over here, and we're going to work through it bit by bit, slowly. Okay, so let's explain what we're going to do first. We're going to just take out the figure and get it so we can isolate it from the background. And the first thing we're going to do that is use a selection mask. We are going to make it so we can see where the figure is. We're going to put it onto plus on the quick selection tool. Make sure that we then click on all the pieces that we wish to use in our illustration. Make sure we get all the bits that we want where we want them. Now, this is a much quicker way of selecting areas. In the past, I've talked about using different ways of cutting things out. I think personally this is possibly the easiest and quickest way, so it's a quick select tool. Okay, we're happy with that, so we click OK. And then we are going to, we're going to right click on here. And we are going to get rid of the background altogether. So we're going to go inverse, and we're going to press backspace, and the background is gone. Now, we need to make a new background, so we'll put that in behind there. So we've clicked on making a new background layer, we'll put the background in. We're going to go for a sort of similar color palette to this picture. So I'm going to go on my color picker. I'm going to find the blues. I'm going to choose a color to represent the darker blue there. I'm going to hide this so we can see what we're doing. On the second color here, I'm going for a lighter blue. And so I can do a gradient in this kind of range. There, and then on this background layer, we're going to play around with the gradient tool. So we're going to use the gradient tool. You can see what the colors will look like here. We're going to draw a line. I'll hide the figure completely. We'll draw a line up from the bottom to the top, and we'll get a gradient. We've done that the wrong way around, so we'll do it from the top to the bottom, and we've got our gradient. And then we'll bring the figure back in, and we've got the beginnings of our response. Now, another thing we need to do at this stage is we're going to put in the red border. There are different ways of doing this, but this is by far and away the quickest and easiest. We are going to use the colors again. We're going to select a bright red about there. We are going to go back to the bucket tool this time. So basically we're painting at the moment, and we're going to bucket fill the whole thing so it goes red. We're going to get the rectangular select marquee selector tool, click it here, drag it like so, and then on the keyboard we're going to press backspace, and then we've got our border. You'll notice there's a nice little thin white border as well, so we're going to do a similar thing we're going to make a new layer. This time we're going to click on these to get the white. We are going to bucket fill in a whole area white. If we click, we've got white, we click on the bucket, click white again. We will switch the layer order over. We will draw another rectangle, ever so slightly smaller than the original one, like so, and then press backspace on the right layer and Control D, and then add the image back in underneath and open the eye. So you can see we now have our border. We need to write the word vote up here, and we need to make the figure bigger. So we'll do the figure bigger first. I'm just going to go onto this and zoom out ever so slightly, so we can see the whole image that we're working on. So we'll hide this again. We'll come back to that in a moment. We'll write the word vote. So we need a new layer for this. As we click on the type tool, it will create a new layer for me. And if it doesn't, we'll create a new layer ourselves. We need to be white. We need to choose the right font that matches it. It's kind of like a Times New Roman-y kind of vibe. Let's see if I can find that. There's a Times New Roman. Now we set the size of the type over here. Have a look how big that is. It's not big enough. We'll try that. We can always make it bigger in a minute. It's in capitals, press caps lock on the keyboard, vote. It's not quite the right font with the T and the E, but I think I will settle for that at the moment. So 72 is not big enough, so in here we're going to write 150, press enter, and then click on the move tool, move that in. Still not quite big enough, so we're going to use the type tool again, click apply, type, highlight it. We'll try 180. That's too big, so we'll go 160. There we go. Okay, so we've got the word vote. We've got our border. Now we need to do some work with the figure. It needs to be bigger. And then we need to do the Shepard Fairey effect. Now you notice at the moment it's behind the words. So we need to switch the layer over so it's above the words. There we go. So it's now here. Now, there's a few little pieces we need to tidy up before we do anything else. We use the eraser. We'll do it with a hard edge, fairly big. And then I'm just going to tidy up some of the edges here. So we've got a smooth edge down there. Just smooth some of that out. Obviously the hairstyle is slightly different, but we'll create a similar effect. I'm just going to move it over so it's centralized. Like that. Now you'll notice that on this one, the person is looking that way and this one's looking that way. We can do a quick little switch around here. We can go edit and we can go transform, we can go flip horizontal, and then we can have the person looking the other way. Do we prefer that? To be honest, I think it's more in tune with what we're doing. So we're happy, we've got the person in the right place. Now we need to do some effects. We're going to use the filter gallery once we've selected the layer that we're working on, and we're going to explore different filters. There is a perfect filter for doing a similar thing. It's called the cutout filter. It may or may not work very well for this. We will have a look at this and we will see. So if we change the edge simplicity, it just turns into random shapes. The further this way we go, the more accurate it becomes. We can have less or more layers on it. I'll try it with 4 layers, click on it, click OK, see what it looks like. It's similar, but it doesn't work for me. The colours have all gone horrible, so I'm going to go edit, step backwards, so we're back to the beginning. I'm going to have a think for a moment. What I think might work more effectively is if we do a different way. In the adjustments for the image, there's a thing called Posterize. We're going to explore what that would do. We've got different amounts of levels here. This gives it a postery effect, but again, it's not really working how we want it to. That's possibly the closest we're going to get on this one with 2 levels. Click OK there, and then once we've done that, we will go to the filter gallery. By clicking on the layer, and we will look at these cutouts now that we've done that first. So the colours are much crisper now. Is that working? I'll have a look at this, but I'm not sure if I'm happy with it. There. Now, we need to look at our colour palette. There's too much yellow by far. So we're going to do some adjustments. Click on the layer. And we're going to look at our hue and saturation. Taking the hue this way slightly. Remember, we are doing a response, we're not doing an exact copy. I'm still not massively happy about this colour here. I want to see if we can change that. So what we can do is go to select, just click on the layer first, select, look for the colour range. We want to go onto a sample colours yellows. Click OK. So we've now selected all the yellows, and then we're going to go to image, adjustment, hue, and we're going to just play around with those colours. And I think taking it into a darker grey maybe would be more in keeping. Right, maybe a little bit darker here. So we're just working on that yellow layer. We do that, Control D, and now we have a more happier response. Now, there you have it. We have our Shepard Fairey response to the Time magazine cover, where they replaced the word time with vote, which coincided with the American election 2021. Now, we are quite happy with this. So we're going to go File, Save As. We're going to call it Vote Response. Save as Photoshop file, click Save, click OK, and there we go. So just to recap, we made the border, we wrote the word using the type tool, we scaled it up to fit, we did a gradient background, and we added some effects to the photograph to create our version of the image. It's not an exact copy, which is not the point of what we're doing. We are making responses. Have a look at doing your own Shepard Fairey response. And if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to pop along and press the subscribe button and tick the bell for notifications when the new videos are coming out. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and have fun making your own responses. Okay, goodbye.